What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Good morning. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy. It is Thursday, May 9th. No, 8th. May 8th, 2025. We are standing here at the Kaagbaan. Primary runway for arrivals today. Runway 27 acting as secondary runway with the temporary closure due to maintenance of the Aalsmeerbaan. Runway 36 right, 18 left. And it is quad arrival day. Whether or not we are going to see the A380 up close remains to be seen. Right now its ETA is a little past 1 o'clock, but you never know. If not, landing on Kaagbaan, we will at least see it, albeit from a distance. What we are going to see, however, are some 747s, and first of all, within 15 minutes or so from now, the Suriname A340. This is Turkish flight 1951, A330-300 arriving from Istanbul. It is a calm day here at Schiphol Airport, not too warm, but also not cold. I'm wearing my winter jacket, but I am only wearing a t-shirt under it. The sun is shining. The day's high expected to be just below 20 degrees C. There is a bit of wind though, from the northeast. So it is not the warmest yet. Marja, goedenavond. Good to see you again. Clementia, goedemorgen. And welcome to all others who have joined in the meantime. So the sun is out. We have one Chinese triple parked over there. It arrived when I was setting up. Big picture wise, this is what it looks like. Looking to the north, you can see at the horizon bit more cloudiness. The wind is coming from more or less the direction of the runway, heading northeast. This is looking to the west, looking to the south, and looking to the east, where the sun is also up and already quite high above the horizon. Next airplane coming in, Vueling flight 8300, A320, arriving from Barcelona. And doing better, Clemencia, doing better. Cold infection is on the decline. It's not completely gone yet, but it's getting better every day. Started to affect my throat a little bit and my voice, so that is why I didn't go out to stream last Sunday, since I also need to use my voice on my regular working days on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, which I succeeded in, luckily. Right now I am going without nasal spray, first time. Yesterday I already reduced the use of it, so even though I still need to blow my nose occasionally, I think 1 or 2 more days and everything will be back to normal. In the meantime, a very good morning to all who have joined. It's quad arrivals day. Let's have a quick look and see what we can expect. So the wind, 8 knots from the direction of the runway heading. And looking on flight radar, check it out. Suriname A340 over the Gulf of Yorkshire, ETA 9:44, that's 11 minutes from now. Entering German airspace is Cargo Lux, which is arriving from Nairobi, Kenya, ETA 10:25, and if all is well, it should be coming this way. Saudia is also underway. Its arrival is shortly before noon. Emirates, okay, now a bit later, and that's not going to go to our runway then. What Suparna is going to do remains to be seen. Its ETA is now 11:40, a bit later, and it's probably going to come to this runway. Don't think I'll be around for these two, but Cargo Lux and Atlas are also arriving from Miami later in the afternoon. So finally, another day with more Quad Squad members. It's been a while. I haven't seen that many 747s in the recent streams. That was SAS arriving from Copenhagen. Chris Koot is also awake, which is a bit difficult to see, but still visible. Now, also, welcome back, Mr. Blue Sky. Good to see you again. Welcome back in the Aurora Sky Lounge. Thank you for renewing your vote of confidence. We kept your seat warm. Everything is still where you left it. So, welcome back, mate. Thank you for the support. Ryan Air Flight 3100 arriving from Dublin, Ireland. And a very good morning to all who have joined. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy. And the first of the Quad Squad members is Suriname A340 600, which will be arriving within 15 minutes. And as you could see just now on Flight Radar, several 747s are also underway. If you don't have to be anywhere, stick around. Plenty of interesting airplanes coming in. And look at Gary Grebe, beautiful. Gary Grebe, also one of the 6 contenders in round 2 for the custom emoji vote. So if you haven't cast your vote yet and you're a member, you still have until Tuesday to vote in the 2 second round polls. 6 winners from the first round poll go head to head, and the 2 winners will fight it out to become the eventual 30-second custom emoji. Hey there, Yin. Good morning. Good to see ya. This is Norwegian, also arriving from Copenhagen. Who is on the tail? Fritjof in the house. Welcome back to the Netherlands, mate. Howdy Henk, goedemorgen. Hey there Jay, good morning. Marjan, goedemorgen. Mrs. Professor, goedemorgen, good morning. And I am recovering from cold virus in, so still sound a bit stuffy, but I am trying to wean off the nasal spray, which I think I should be able to do. Feeling good otherwise. Luckily have my voice back. The infection did affect my voice earlier in the weekend, which is also why I didn't stream on Sunday. Now we should be good, and hopefully this was the last cold infection for this season, which I'm already surprised about that it still struck in the beginning of May. But apparently it's still going around. SAS Flight 821 A320neo arriving from Oslo. So yeah, only one Chinese triple right now on the north side of the cargo apron being unloaded. It was interesting to see just how high and massive these stacks of cargo are. Hey there, Janus, good morning. Seal the deal, good morning. And we have a Qatar triple on the glide slope now, arriving as number 3. First up, KLM flight 1752, arriving from Hamburg. And then Embraer 190. Vueling A320neo, arriving from Alicante. Looked like it touched down a little bit hard, but good suspension on those gears, on those landing gears. Probably wasn't too uncomfortable on board. Right. Glide slope shot with a Qatar triple as number 2, arriving from Panama City. That is, I think, the first wide body of the show. Also won't be long until the first quad squad member is going to arrive. Peter, good evening. George, good morning. Welcome back, one and all. First up, Vueling flight 1377, A320neo, arriving from Alicante, 2 hours and 18 minutes underway. A 5-year-old airplane that had its first flight in August of the year 2019. Illuminated beautifully by the morning sunshine that is shining from behind us. Patrick, Barak, Turkish Aviation, Fritz, good morning all. Let's quickly turn back. It is time for Qatar. Qatar cargo, I'm arriving from Panama City. First wide body of the show. Qatar cargo flight 8917 is arriving from Panama City, where it left from 10 hours and 17 minutes ago. It's a 777 freighter, the A7 BFR, Bravo Foxtrot Romeo. 5-year-old airplane, first flight August 2019. Gotta love the sounds of those GE90s. Servus Agent T79. Dennis, goedemorgen. Embraer 175, next to arrive. KLM, arriving from Düsseldorf. Chris Good, doing morning cardio. Nibble, nibble. David, good morning. Sheila, good morning. Martinair, good morning. Harm, goedemorgen. Welcome to the show, everybody. Quad Squad arrival day. And pretty soon we are going to see the first Quad Squad member. On the right we have KLM flight 1798. Arriving from Düsseldorf, Embraer 175. And then it is an influx of wide bodies back to back. Air Canada flight 900. Next after that, United flight 968, a 777. Delta Airlines with an A330 Neo. Then the Suriname A340. Then another United Dreamliner. And a KLM Dreamliner as well. So that's 6 wide bodies back to back after this. Sit back and relax and enjoy the show. And if you are enjoying the show, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Tippy toey. Yeah, that's buttery smooth. Right. Now it is time for a whole slew of wide bodies back to back. At least 6 of them. To begin with, Air Canada flight 900. Arriving from Montreal. This is a 7878 Dreamliner. 10 years old already. First flight was in January 2015. The airplane on the left, that's a 777. United flight 968, arriving from San Francisco. Eddie, good morning. Jasper, good morning. Laura, goedemorgen, good morning. Lodder Pilot, good morning, mate. Good to see you again, Olaf. All right. No time to waste. More wide bodies coming in. United flight 968, arriving from San Francisco, is next to arrive. Delta Airlines in the middle now. Flight 56, arriving from Salt Lake City. And after that should be the A340 600. Which I think is being obscured from seeing by the tree in the relative foreground, but that's okay, we'll see it soon enough. United Airlines flight 968, arriving from San Francisco. It is a 777-200. Flight time 9 hours and 49 minutes. Registration November 78009. And the A340 is visible now. There it is. This particular airplane is already 26 years old, ladies and gentlemen. First flight was in April 1999. What up, Alan? Good to see you, mate. I'm happy to hear you had a good holiday. Alright. Number 2 is the A340, the first Quad Squad member landing here today. Also a warm welcome to Ed Brokke, who just now became our latest Aurora Sky Lounge member. Welcome to the show, welcome to the club. Sit back and relax. Hope you'll enjoy the lounge. If you need to know where stuff is, ask around. Many members have gone before you and will happily show you around. Ed, welcome to the club. Thank you for your vote of confidence. And also don't forget to vote if you haven't already. If you're a member, in the community section, round 2 polls that you can still cast your vote in for the contender of who will be the next custom emoji, the 32nd. Delta Airlines Flight 56, arriving from Salt Lake City, A330 Neo. A340 arriving from Paramaribo in Suriname, USC flying on behalf of Suriname Airways. In the meantime, Martin Air, thank you so much for your continued support. 18 months as a member, 1.5 years with AMS Live. Mate, thank you so much for the continued support. Hope you still like it in the lounge. If something is running lower, if you're no longer liking it, let me know and let me see what I can do to fix it, mate. Martin Air, dankjewel. Thank you so much for your continued support. 1.5 years, 6 more months, and you'll be turning blue. Meanwhile, good morning to all who have joined. Great, QJ, Marianne. No, already said hi to Marianne. Good afternoon in Seoul. Dutch Planespotter, good morning. Robert is tuning in from Thailand, good morning. Uffel 80, guten Morgen, herzlich willkommen. So this is Suriname Airways Flight 994, operated by USC. It's an A340-600, 9 hours and 2 minutes underway. The Douse. The Douse has landed. Good evening, John. Ramon, goedemorgen. Morning, Steven. Pjotke, good morning. Goedemorgen. Indeed, that is a nice touch, isn't it, Dennis? The chrome rings on the motors. Right, so A340 has landed. More wide bodies are coming in. We're not done yet with the wide body influx. 2 more are coming. United Flight 909 up first, arriving from Chicago O'Hare. 7878 Dreamliner, 7 hours and 15 minutes underway. The November 26910, which is 11 years old and began flying as a professional airplane in February of the year 2014. Bam, deflex. Martin R, thank you so much for the support. Blijf zo doorgaan. Please continue the way you have been. I will definitely do my best to do that, Martin. Dankjewel. Thank you for the support, for the encouragement, voor de aanmoediging. Dallas Aviation, good morning. Matt, goedemorgen. Patrick, good morning. Lopez RC, good morning. Goedemorgen. Right, another Dreamliner, another airplane arriving from Chicago O'Hare. Would these two airplanes have flown behind one another? Well, undoubtedly they have, but really back to back? That's the question. Not sure if they used different tracks to traverse the Atlantic. This is KLM flight 612, also arriving from Chicago O'Hare. This is a 7879 Dreamliner. Flight time 7 hours and 7 minutes, 7:07. Hallie Martien, goedemorgen. Louis, goedemorgen. Good morning. Right, time for some narrow bodies to arrive now. Let's have a look, because we already saw the A340 land just now. What's in the pipeline more and next? Next is going to be Cargolux arriving from Nairobi in Kenya. Its ETA is 10:27, and by then only one runway for inbound traffic should be open on paper. Normally speaking, that would be the runway we are standing next to, so very high likelihood that this airplane will land on the runway we are filming next to. Saudia is also arriving. It is arriving shortly before noon, at a time where there's only one runway open for inbound traffic, so I think Saudia will also come this way. And Suparna is difficult, because between 11 and 11:40 there's usually two runways open for inbound traffic. Runway 27 acts as secondary runway with the temporary closure of Alsmeerbaan due to maintenance this week. Same goes for the Emirates. We should still be able to see their last minutes, last seconds of flight from here. Runway 27 is right on the other side. Usually we can see that quite well from over here, but whether Suparna is going to land here or go to runway 27, I'm not too sure. Also depends on how strict they are with the runway openings and closures. Last week we saw that they began and they opened up the secondary runway 15 minutes ahead of schedule, but also closed it again 15 minutes ahead of schedule. If they were to do that today, then Suparna should arrive at a time where only Kagbaan is open for arrival. So there's not a 0% chance, but there is a low likelihood that it might go this way. We'll see. We'll see. So let's see. We have an Embraer 175 arriving from Brussels, and we have a 737 arriving from Porto in Portugal. That's over there, and already we can see a 777-300 that is arriving from Johannesburg, South Africa. And after that should be a Delta A330, which I think is still obscured. So yeah, linear 3 airplane glide slope shot here. Peter, good morning. Adrie, goedemorgen. Harry's Plane Tube, goedemorgen. Elwa, goedemorgen. Jinshin, aloha mate. Hope it was well, mate. Roelof, goedemorgen. So yeah, the sun is out with a little bit of cirrus clouds right in the east. Looking to the north, you can see some more lower clouds at the horizon further to the north. Looking to the west, you can see the same above the sea. And looking to the south, things look to be the clearest, although if you look to the horizon and you look a bit to the southeast, further away at the horizon, you can also see more cloudiness. Clouds never too far away. This is KLM flight 1570 arriving from Porto in Portugal. Flight 1570 is a 737-800. BCK is back. Good morning, Brandon. Good morning, Sagar. Good morning, David. Andy Q, good morning. Tim said good morning. Tina, goedemorgen. Welcome to the show, everybody. Next up, KLM flight 592, arriving from Johannesburg in South. It is a 777-300ER. 10 hours and 34 minutes on the way to get here. 8 years old. First flight of this airplane was in May 2016. This is the PHBVR, Bravo Victor Romeo. Hey Wolfgang, Servus, good to see you, mate. Still recovering from the gold infection, but it is improving every day, so feeling quite well actually. Hope that also goes for you, my friend. Here we have Delta Airlines flight 134 arriving from Detroit, Michigan. It's an A330-300. And there is more wide-bodied traffic on the downwind. Qatar also coming in. Where did I see it? No, wrong lantern. Or is it? New, wrong lantern. They all look alike. At the sound of sounding racist. Another Qatar arriving from Doha in a few minutes. First up, Delta Airlines flight 134 arriving from Detroit, Michigan. A330-300, 7 hours and 12 minutes on the way. Good morning, DB Baseman. Good morning, RDW. Goedemorgen. That's reversers being applied by Delta. Right now, on the north side of the cargo apron, only China Southern Cargo 777 is parked. Qatar usually parks on the south side, so the airplane that is now arriving in a few minutes should also go to the right and will stay somewhat hidden from view from where we are standing. KLM flight 1402 is arriving next. That's the 737-800 arriving from Paris-Charles de Gaulle. Now, flight radar seems to tell me that there is a bizjet somewhere behind the 737. I am struggling to see anything visually, let alone film anything. It might also be on a more off-axis glide slope straight in for runway 04, now that I look a bit more closely on flight radar. Which means it should be approaching a bit more from the left. Now, the question is how much further to the left should I look? And is the tree in the way? Is there anything to see at all? So many questions. Right now, nothing to see. It's also not a misprojection of flight radar that in fact it is on the glide slope to runway 06. It does look like the bizjet, if it is flying out there, is on a different course. Question is, where is it? Got it. I got it. Now I need to turn around so that I can also move with my camera along with the airplane without the wires getting tangled. There it is. So that's a straight arrival into runway 04, the bizjet. Aero West, arriving from Humberside. This is a Cessna Citation XLS Plus. Left Humberside 50 minutes ago. Relatively new airplane, a year old only. First flight was in September 2023. Hardly ever do we see airplanes on the glide slope to runway 04 directly. Not when runway 06 is also open. Either they land on runway 06 or you see the airplanes come in on the glide slope of runway 36 right and then make a last minute break to the right to land on runway 04. So this is rather exceptional to see. Good morning Midvi, goedemorgen. Good morning Frank, welcome back. So Aero West, Cessna Citation, directly going in for runway 04. I suppose with the maintenance of runway 36 right, 18 left, the ILS is also out of commission. Even though it is VFR, well, maybe I'm just uttering nonsense. That's probably the case. They don't need the IFR, the ILS now. It is VFR condition, so that's probably not it. Peter PDK, good morning, goedemorgen. We have more wide bodies coming in. This is Qatar Cargo, the airplane that we also saw on the downwind leg a few minutes ago. Arriving from Doha, 777 freighter. And behind it, and there it is, another wide body. That would be KLM flight 644, which today is flown in an Airbus A330. And Wolfgang asks if I've heard about the great luck that the Fredde Tricolori had in Italy a few days ago. No, I can't say that I have. Not exactly sure what you are hinting at, what happened or didn't happen. Mid-air collision of 3 jets. Well, I can't say that I've heard about it, but happy to hear that they all landed safely. Yum, 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 yum. So if you're joining us later, welcome to the show. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy and we're standing here at Kaagbaan, runway 06, the primary runway for arrivals. If you joined us only just now, you may have missed the arrival of the first Quad Squad member already. The A340-600 from Suriname. It landed around 9:45 local time. A couple of 747s are still underway. First up, KLM flight 644, arriving from New York, JFK. That's an A330-300. Flight time 6 hours and 43 minutes. Fuck D is the registration. 13-year-old airplane, first flight March 2012. Hey there, Klaus. Good morning. Welcome to the show, one and all. I'm also hearing stuff passing by overhead. Twin jet. Just now passed me by. And another airplane in the background approaching the glide slope. That would be KLM flight 636 arriving from Las Vegas. That's a 777-200 and sandwiched in between it and this airplane is going to be an EasyJet A319 arriving from London Gatwick. So the EasyJet A319 arriving from London Gatwick is coming in first. The Dreamliner, the 777 that we saw in the background of the A330 is now on the left. And third is going to be a Croatia Airlines Bombardier C-Series 300, aka an A220. And a nice little ducky doing a flyby. And a splashdown. Well, the reeds are in the way. The grass and the reeds are overgrowing a little. Hard to see them. Interestingly, it seems that runway 27 is now also open again for at least a BizJet that is approaching, according to flight radar. Question is, can I see it in the distance? Or is it flying overhead? Indonesia Air Force, Dassault. No, it is actually landing. There it is. So this is the Indonesia Air Force Dassault Falcon 8X. Only a year old. Coming in from Abu Dhabi. 7 hours and 32 minutes on the way. Landing on runway 27. And this is the landing of KLM flight 636 arriving from Las Vegas, 777-200 Meanwhile, guten Morgen Mario. And good evening Christina, who is tuning in from New Zealand. Wolfgang says that the C-17 is passing at Leiden west to east. Yeah, think I see a contrail. Is it closer by or is it further away? It's a bit more above the tree. Think this might be it. Let's see. Yeah, that is it, isn't it? Looks like it. Producing only a faint contrail, relatively far away. A bit further to the south from where we're standing over here. Peter K, good morning. Sander, goedemorgen. Welcome to the show, all others who have joined. This is Croatia Airlines Flight 450 arriving from Zagreb. Bombardier C Series 300. 1 hour and 40 minutes on the way. Brand new airplane, first flight July 2024. Let's see, our next airplane is Lufthansa Flight 2302, arriving from Munich. That's an A319, and Air Canada Flight 808 is behind it. That is a 7878 Dreamliner. Hey there, Jane, good morning. Cargolux is approaching, arriving from Nairobi. Big birds on the downwind leg coming this way. This is a Chinese triple, and behind it should be first 747. Which I am expecting we ought to be able to see. If only I know where exactly I need to look. So that's the Chinese triple. Ah, I think I have something inside that probably should be. Yes, there it is. Cargo log flight 2613, arriving from Nairobi in Kenya. First quad squad member coming in. Bam, deflex. JP, buongiorno. Benvenuto. Patrick, goedemorgen. Welcome to the show, everybody. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy. I am going to re-invite the elephant back into the room. A little bit of nasal spray, because whenever I speak a lot it also clogs my nose more rapidly, it seems like. Still clearing an infection, is getting better every day. Here we have El Al flight 337 arriving from Tel Aviv. That's a 737-900 with BA behind it and Tarom behind it. BA and Tarom both coming with A320s, and after that it is the Chinese triple and then the first 747 of the show. If you only joined us later, you might have missed the arrival of the first quad squad member in the form of the Suriname Airways A340-600. It landed around 9:45 local time. The first queen is approaching. She's flying over there. Cargo Lux arriving from Nairobi in Kenya. Pretty soon she will land here on runway 06. Primary runway for arrivals today, with wind blowing from the northeast. The airplanes landing here are faced with mostly headwind. Hey there, Scott. Good evening. Izzy, good morning. Hans, goedemorgen. Nice Soundtrack Promotions, good morning. Welcome to the show, everybody. Hope you're doing well. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy, and this is the Kaagba on runway 06, where the quad squad is being filmed. Watch how I carefully rephrase it to being filmed. Not sure about the A380, its ETA lies past 1 o'clock, and even though earlier in the morning it was 1:01 at some point, last time we checked it was more towards 1:15. So I suspect it is going to land on runway 27, and maybe some of you might have missed Aalsmeerbound runway 36 right, 18 left is now closed for maintenance until the 10th. That's usually the secondary runway for arrivals when wind is blowing from the north, like today. Means that runway 27 is temporarily in use as secondary runway for arrivals. As earlier viewers who tuned in earlier already have seen, with the example of the Falcon 8 from the Indonesian Air Force, we are able to see arrivals to runway 27 quite well from over here. However, there are plenty more airplanes expected, several Queens. First up, Tarom, flight 361, arriving from Bucharest. And a quick look on the map will tell you that there is a delay. There was a delay. Cargo Lux is arriving. Suparna is arriving. The Suparna is now expected 11:30, so that might go to runway 27. Saudia is expected at a time where the Kaagbaan is only expected to be open. Yeah, and Emirates will probably go to the wrong runway with an ETA of 1:14. We'll see. We'll see. Hadi Marcel, goedemorgen. Gerrit, goedemorgen. And Izzy only speaks a little Dutch, but loves the channel. Thank you for the kind words, Izzy. No need to speak Dutch. If you speak English and understand that, you will get most of what is said here. Dan Air flying on behalf of Tarom. Good morning, Liberator. Martino, goedemorgen. W, goedemorgen, good morning. Chris Coot also in the chat and says hi to everybody. Now, who also says hi to everybody with a super chat and a glide slope action quote is Captain Jerry Donnelly. Jerome, good to see you again, mate. Hope you're doing well. And thank you so much for your kind donation. You didn't have to do that, mate. Thank you so much. Hope you've had a good day. And here we are going to see a Chinese triple with a 747 behind it. Only quickly then. China Southern Cargo, arriving from Chongqing in China, 10 hours and 7 minutes underway. Triple 7 freighter. Oh, look at how gentle it lands. Compare that with the slam dunk of the Cathay Pacific 747-8 recently, and that's a world of difference. Queenie, here she is. Ooh, bit of wind from the wake turbulence. Interesting. Hadi Michael, Hadi Chantal, Matthias, good morning. Welcome to the show, everybody. Paul also back. Mr. Biker, good to see you, mate. Perfect timing, just in time for Queen number 1. Although, those of you joining us only just now will probably have been too late to see the arrival of the very first quad member of today's show. That was the A340 600. Its landing happened about 45 minutes ago, 9:45. This is Cargo Lux flight 2613. 747-400 freighter, 8 hours and 26 minutes on the way. It is arriving from Nairobi in Kenya, and that lies in this particular airplane is 17 years old, and its first flight was in July 2007. Whistle. I hope the mic was able to convey what I heard here in person. That sounded beautifully. That is so nice to hear, Alan. Alan says, my niece's son, who is 10, absolutely loves AMS Live, and we had a great chat about it whilst on holiday. His name is Ashton. Ashton, if you're watching, welcome to the show, mate. Happy to hear that you are enjoying the show. Together with Uncle Alan. Awesome. So yeah, Cargo Lux, it has landed. It is probably going to take a right-hand turn at the end of the runway. Never seen Cargo Lux park anywhere else than on the south side of the cargo apron, which is over there, which means pretty soon we are going to see a long distance headshot. Hadi Siegfried, goedemorgen. And welcome to the show, all others who have joined in the meantime. So, in half an hour from now, runway 27 is expected to open up as secondary runway for arrivals. That has to do with the temporary closure of Aalsmeerbaan. That's runway 18 left, 36 right, which is usually the secondary runway on days like today with wind blowing from the north for arrivals. The runway is closed due to yearly maintenance. Just standard maintenance, only 5 days from the 5th until the 10th. But until then, a different runway configuration needs to be used. We should be able to see the arrivals to runway 27 pretty well from over here. It's the runway next to the McDonald's. And we have quite good visibility over here to its glide slope. This was an Air France Bombardier C-Series 300 arriving from Paris Charles de Gaulle, flight 1444. And we are going to see a whole slew of narrow bodies now. There's already a couple visible, an Embraer 175 and an E2 Embraer 195 from KLM. Are the first two airplanes to arrive. And over here we have the Cargo Lux 747 that is now taxiing to its parking stand. Goedemorgen Krentenbol uit Bos en Lommer. Bos en Lommer is a neighborhood in Amsterdam, and Krentenbol is a little type of bun with well, not raisins, but something similar to raisins in it. Tastes very nice. Particularly if you cut them in half, put them on the contact grill for a few moments, and then smear them with butter and a little cinnamon. Currants. Thank you, Hitimsid. John Norris also back in the chat. Good to see you, mate. So yeah, Cargo Lux in the meantime has arrived at its parking stand. And the Chinese triple that landed before it is about to arrive here on the north side. This is the north side. Let's have a quick look on Flight Radar, see what else is in the pipeline. So Suparna is flying towards the Netherlands and is closest by. Its ETA is 11:33, so that's still an hour away. Saudia is expected 10 minutes after that and should land on this runway. Emirates is expected now 1:09, so it's making up a few more minutes versus what it was before. And with 1:33, the ETA of Cargo Lux Italia, and 2:48. You might also catch the landing of this airplane, which is not much later after the A380 will have arrived. In the meantime, I saw that Roy just now became a member. Roy, thank you so much for your vote of confidence. Welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge. Hope you are going to like it in the lounge. Many have gone before you. If you need to know where stuff is, just ask around. Many members will happily guide you around and show you where you can find stuff. Thank you for the vote of confidence. And also don't forget to vote if you have a strong opinion about which should become our 30-second custom emoji. The first round polls already ended last Tuesday. The second round polls are now open until next week, Tuesday. 6 poll winners out of 24 contenders now go ahead in 2 polls. And the final 2 winners will go head to head to see which one will become the 30-second custom emoji. This is KLM flight 1268 arriving from Copenhagen. So I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4 wide narrow bodies that are coming in after this. And good morning, Alex on Cars, who is tuning in from Tel Aviv. Good to see ya. Jij weer Slijm, goedemorgen. Our next airplane is going to be Transavia. Transavia flight 5466, arriving from Italy, from Verona. This is a 737-800. Underway now for 1 hour and 22 minutes. The PHHZD. 26 years old, first flight April 1999. Thibaut is watching the channel in between the exams. How are the exams going thus far? Jerry says too many extra large condoms available in the lounge. I think they're even starting to spread into the water over here. Guess I'll just dispose of those then. Get some extra smalls for you. This is KM Malta, flight 394, arriving from Malta, an A320 Neo and Lufty with an A320 behind it. KLM E2 Embraer 195 behind it, and after that another KLM with an Embraer 190. So almost all wide body types that fly, narrow body types that fly into Schiphol in a row behind one another. Visit Malta. They're telling us what we need to do. Andy has to go for the time being. Thanks for stopping by, Andy. Maybe see you later, and otherwise, hopefully later in the weekend. Lorenzo, Eric, good morning. Also good to see that Lord Andrew just renewed his membership. Welcome back to the Aurora Sky Lounge, Lord Andrew. And we kept your seat warm. Everything, we still left it where it was, where you remember it to be. Thank you for renewing your vote of confidence. And welcome back to the Aurora Sky Lounge. Sarah also back in the chat. Good to see you, Sarah. Hope all is well. This is Daisy. Daisy from Germany. Daisy is arriving from Frankfurt in Germany. Flight 988. Now, we began the day with mostly blue skies and just a few lower clouds at the horizon to the north. This is now looking to the north and things haven't changed significantly, except that those friendly clouds seem to have come by a little closer. In fact, looking to the east now, you can see some friendly clouds here. I don't think it is any longer Cavoquet right now. We only saw a single cirrus cloud earlier in the show. This is looking to the west and this is looking to the south. Now also the friendly clouds further to the south. That means that our METAR has become somewhat outdated, and let me see if I can quickly renew it after this landing. This is an E2 Embraer 95 KLM flight 1918, arriving from Zurich. John wonders if Jesus has been sighted lately, not in the Netherlands, but I did see that it was flying from Gatwick to Berlin today. Might have already landed over there. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, Jesus is in Berlin and is going to return later to London Gatwick. So Jesus is in Germany right now. Those lucky Germans. Let's see. Well, we didn't have Cavoquet to begin with. Thought it maybe was, but there you go. I don't even remember my own METAR. The wind is still more or less in the direction of the runway heading. 7 knots, 14 degrees C. That's 58-ish Fahrenheit. Few clouds at 1200 feet. So it is decent weather. This is the new METAR in the ticker. In the meantime, good morning to Marcel and all others who have joined. It is time for KLM flight 598 to land, arriving from Johannesburg, South. No, Cape Town, South. Cape Town. Same country, different city. It is a 777-300ER. This is an airplane underway now for 11 hours and 8 minutes. The PHBVW Bravo Victor Whiskey. 4 years old, first flight January 2021. Ooh. That was quite a bit of rudder use after the main gear touched down. Check that in rewind. Didn't look like it was crabbing in so much, but apparently it did. Two Chinese triples over there, and we have Chris Coot. Only barely visible over there, making a ruckus. All right. We're going to see blue, blue, blue. One is okay. The other two are a lot more pretty. This is the okay one. This is KLM Flight 1002, arriving from London Heathrow, an A321neo. We are going to see two back-to-back ITAs after that. First the ITA arriving from Milan, that's an A319. And then the ITA arriving from Rome, which is also an A321neo, just like this airplane is. FXD is the registration, you guys could see it quite clearly. Oh, bounce, double bounce. Don't forget the flare, guys. Time for two back-to-back ITAs. In the meantime, also a massive big thank you to Peter K, who just now gifted a membership, and I see that Andy R was the recipient. Welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge, Andy. Don't forget to say thank you to Peter for your gifted membership. Don't forget to use those custom emojis that you now have at your disposal for a month. Also, if you are a member, new or old, doesn't matter, don't forget to cast your vote if you haven't already. There is an election going on to select the 30-second custom emoji for members. We started out with the first round with 24 suggestions. Of those, now only 6 remain, and they fight head-to-head in 2 polls to create 2 second round winners, which will fight it out in the third and final round to determine the eventual 30-second custom emoji. Every member can cast their vote in each of the 2 polls, now still open. You don't have to, but if you feel like you want to engage, please do so. Feel free. Hadi Evertjan, goedemorgen. Josephine, good morning. Alrighty, ITA with an A321neo, and behind it Delta Airlines Flight 162, arriving from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And after that we are going to see a Chinese, oh sweet Jesus, it's the carbon fiber special livery from China Airlines. Have a look at what is turning in and is going to be the 3rd airplane to land here, guys. That's a pretty airplane. China Airlines in the carbon fiber Airbus special livery. First up, ITA Airways, flight 108. And with the red lighting, you can see the intricate details in the tail and the end of the fuselage. At first glance, it looks like a very monotonous livery with the exception of the tricolor and of course the engine casings, but upon closer look you will see there are more details in it than you at first glance thought there were. Metallic. Indeed. Now in the meantime, Gary Grebe, one of the 6 contenders in round 2 to become a custom emoji. Diving under as its mate is re-emerging. absolutely beautiful to see. You can also see quite clearly how the water is staying on top of the feathers, isn't draining, isn't soaking into it. It's water repellent and you can clearly see it. This is Delta Airlines Flight 162 arriving from Minneapolis, Minnesota. A330 300. Oh, the grebes are also making a bit of sound here. Bloop. How much longer are you going to stay above the water? Not very long. Question is, where and when will they re-emerge? They can stay underwater for quite a bit of distance, but in this case, right, let's have a quick look at our next airplane coming in all the way from Taipei. China Airlines with an A350 in the Airbus carbon fiber special livery. Have a look at this. It is a beautiful specimen. Flipping 15 hours and 17 minutes on the way already. What route has it taken? Probably avoided Pakistan and India. 6-year-old airplane, first flight August 2018. Have a look at this. This is thumbnail material. The right lighting as well. Wow. Hey there, honey, good morning. And good morning to all others who have joined. Welcome to the show. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy. And it is the day of Quad Squad arrivals. We already saw the A340 600 arrive here just over an hour ago, around 9:45. So if you missed it, definitely worthwhile looking back that landing. We also have seen one 747 land here. There is another one underway. It's expected in half an hour or so. Now it's probably going to land on runway 27, which seems to have reopened already. And just to get our bearings in, it looks like this is glide slope to runway 27. So if there are 747s and maybe also the A380 later landing on that runway, this is what we can see from over here. You can see this looks like an E2 Embraer 195. It is quite well visible from over here. And it is in fact KLM flight 1198 arriving from Oslo. Just to show you guys what we can see from over here. Imagine if it is the A380 and it is a bit bulkier, we should be able to see it quite well from over here. In fact, from this viewing angle, the lighting also works in our favor with the sun shining on the airplane from behind. Just too warm to my liking, too much heat distortion. But there you go. Chris is also still here, doing morning cardio. And good morning, John, who is tuning in from tropical Edinburgh. Is it tropical over there? There's a first. It is time for an EasyJet A320 Neo to arrive from Chester. There's also a Delta A330 making its way over here, now expected to be third to arrive. Ah, above me 10 degrees. Time to put out the barbecue then, John. I know what you'll be eating tonight. Good morning, Fritz. Fritz with TZ, that's usually the German spelling. Guten Morgen. Right, so the second airplane visible is Transavia, that's over there, and I wonder if we are able to see number 3 already. Don't think that we are. 3 unfortunately blocking our view, but we should be able to see it quite soon. Nice soundtrack promotions, has to go, gotta catch the train. All the best, mate. Thanks for stopping by. Hope to see you again soon. So yeah, it is only 5 minutes to 11. Normally between 11 and 11:40 the secondary runway for arrivals opens again. It seems that already happened, so hopefully, and I say this very cautiously, but hopefully it also means that they are going to close runway 27 a bit early as well. Last time I checked, Suparna was expected around 11:33, so if they are closing it 10 minutes earlier than normal would have been the case, we might see it here. We might actually stand a chance of seeing the Suparna land over here. And that would be terrific because it's been a long time ago since I recall having seen Suparna land or take off in one of the streams. John says that it's 30°C in Perth today. Winter is supposed to start in a couple of weeks, lol. That's a tough winter for you guys when it is 30°C. Now, I'm sure it's going to get cooler eventually in the upcoming months, but still pretty warm considering winter will begin in just a few weeks from now. Bob also back in the chat. Good evening, mate. If you joined us later, welcome to the show. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy and we are standing here at Kaagbaan runway 06, the primary runway for arrivals today. Runway 27 is now also open as secondary runway. Reason being is that the Aalsmeerbaan is closed for maintenance between the 5th and the 10th. If you joined us only just now, you may have missed the arrivals of the Suriname A340-600 already. And we also saw a Cargo Lux Italia arriving from Nairobi in Kenya. There are more 747s underway. The A380, of course, is also still underway. The next 747 is expected in half an hour from now, just over half an hour from now. Suparna Airlines, which I'm expecting, truth be told, to land on runway 27, but we can't see that quite well from over here. There's also a Saudia 747 arriving. It's ETA, last time I checked at least, and I will do a recheck pretty soon. Last time was the ETA 11:44, and that makes that Saudia 747 a candidate for this runway regardless, because by then, if all is well, only one runway will be open for inbound traffic. And that's this one. This is Transavia, flight 6914, arriving from Olbia. Next airplane to arrive is going to be Delta Airlines Flight 74, arriving from Atlanta, Georgia. Let's have a quick look on Flight Radar in the meantime to see where the Quad Squad members still airborne are at. Jesus is also underway to pass overhead to London Gatwick, departing from Berlin. Suparna, now an ETA of 11:30, is about to enter Dutch airspace. Saudia flying over Germany, its ETA is still 11:44. Emirates is expected 9 minutes past 1. And Cargolux is expected 1:35. My plan is to stick around until Cargolux, arriving from Miami, has landed. If you don't have to be anywhere, stick around because plenty more will be seen and visible here. We're going to catch them all, just like Pokemon. This is Delta Airlines Flight 74, an A330-300 arriving from Atlanta, Georgia. Nearly 8 hours underway, 7 hours and 56 minutes. Howdy Roy, goedemorgen. Good to see you again, mate. Hope all is well. Jetstream Journeys, good morning. Thijs, goedemorgen. Little use of the reversers there by Delta. So, 2 runways open for arrivals. Runway 27 is now also open. And that's the runway next to the McDonald's. Means that the airplanes approaching it are approaching from the opposite direction. Nearly exactly the opposite direction. Over here we have a BizJet that is arriving from Zurich. VistaJet. All silvery if you look on the picture on Flight Radar. Flight 915, it is a Bombardier Global 6000. So it's just a small narrow body, basic entrance model. 1 hour and 3 minutes underway. 10 years old. First flight March 2015. Sound you are picking up on the ambient mic are that of Iberia Express, arriving from Madrid, an A320. Landing over there. And we also have herons in the vicinity, at least 2 of them. There's one. And the other over there. Now, Chris Coot just now climbed onto land over here, and the Grebes still over there somewhere. No, that's a Coot as well. Another Transavia. This is the Therese airplane. TRA 3 Tango, flight 5132 arriving from Barcelona. Ari, Ohio gozaimasu. Good to see you again. Good morning, Jeff. Guten Morgen, Avi. Lance, good morning, mate. The G is arriving from Athens on runway 27. For those of you joining us later and who are unaware of it, there is a runway maintenance, yearly runway maintenance taking place on the Aalsmeerbaan. That's runway 18 left, 36 right. Closed from the 5th until the 10th. That means that another secondary runway for arrivals is in use than normally would have been the case with wind blowing from the north. And we have a KLM 747 getting pushed back here. EasyJet A320 arriving from Birmingham. Sarah asks if I steamed with ginger root. I haven't. Totally forgot about that. I went to bed early a couple of nights and I've been using nasal spray for a couple of days now. Things are slowly but surely getting better already. Now, ladies and gentlemen, members, something red is about to land here. Even though there is a 747 starting its engines. On the other side, behind me, here is Play Flight 460 arriving from Reykjavik in Iceland, an A320neo. Good morning, Amateur Moon. Good morning, Jacqueline. Welcome to the show, all others who have joined us in the meantime. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boyd. We're standing at the Kaagbaan. Quad Squad arrivals. The A340-600 already landed. One of more 747s to expect has already landed. The second 747 now probably is in Dutch airspace. Superna Airlines. At the risk of getting an answer I already knew, has anybody already had a look and seen what runway it has been assigned to? Sarah guarantees me that the strong smell of ginger root will clear any sinus. I'm not sure that my sinuses are actually clogged. It feels more like my nasal cavity is clogged. It's more my throat now as well. Which is also why I didn't stream on Sunday, because I started to feel that it was going to my throat and my voice as well. Usually, whenever I used to have a cold, it would just be a case of using nasal spray for a week and just have a clogged nose for a week or so. Lately, sometimes I'm also starting to get irritated throat and need to cough a bit more. Maybe it's a different strain, different virus, don't know. Whatever it is or was, I hope it was the last infection of the season. I'm already surprised that so late in the season viruses are still spreading and being susceptible to it. That as well. Anyway, let's see. We have Air Arabia Maroc arriving from Nador, which is in the north of, which is approaching behind me. Number 175 from KLM arriving from Brussels as number 2. And the third airplane is also visible already, and that is KLM Flight 696, and that is an A330-200 arriving from Toronto in Canada. Hadi Koos, goedemorgen. John just recovered from sinusitis and flu, and also needed antibiotics. Well, I didn't have fever. Had a normal temperature, was feeling otherwise well, just lost my sense of taste, of course, because my sense of smell also got lost. Hardly ever do I get a fever. Last time I think I had a fever was shortly before the official pandemic broke out. Shortly after having returned from a winter sports ski trip by airplane, where on my return day I had to wait past customs in a very small and badly ventilated and very crowded arrival hall or departure hall. Still wonder to this day if maybe I already caught corona back then. Because then, shortly after having returned, I actually had to call in sick for work for a couple of days, which hardly ever happens to me. I was shivering from cold with a fever in bed, wearing all my winter garments and still being cold AF. I think that was the last time I also had the flu, and that was back in, what was it, 2020 or so, beginning of 2020. Same here, Peter K. Having a clogged nose, I wouldn't call that being sick. I spy with my little eye a privately owned 737-700 that is arriving from Dubai and will be landing on a runway 27 pretty soon. Supporter going to Buitenveldert as expected. Thanks for looking that up, guys. Over here where I'm standing, you can clearly hear the engines of the 747. I hope that the mic can also pick it up. And this is a privately owned 737-700 arriving from Dubai, interestingly. We're also going to see an A330-200 landing here, arriving from Toronto. Right. Mrs. Professor signing off. It's bedtime for her. Thank you for joining us, Mrs. Professor. Sleep well and hope to see you again tomorrow. And also Elizabeth is tuning in just before bedtime to say hi. Hi there, Elizabeth. Hope you've had a good day. This is the CKA. Has it had a bad case of diarrhea? Doesn't look like it. Her bum seems to be pretty clean. John wonders if KLM has a lot of cargo planes. Well, on paper they're not actually KLMs anymore. It's operated by Martin Air Cargo. There are 3 747-400s still in the KLM cargo livery, the PH, CKA, B and C. And then you have the PH MPS, which is in the Martin Air livery. Those 4 are officially Martin Air Cargo's fleet of cargo airplanes. At least to my knowledge. And if I recall correctly, the intention is from KLM to replace the 747s eventually with A350 freighters, if I read that correctly. And thank you for the kind words, Roy. I already am feeling better. If I didn't have to speak constantly like I'm doing right now, my voice probably would have sounded a bit less hoarse and my nose probably wouldn't have been clogged so easily as to need more nasal spray, but it's getting better. I think I have a pretty competent immune system. Usually recover quickly from any upper respiratory tract infections, so no worries there, mate. But thank you for the kind words. Is this the Herpa Derpa Derpa? It almost looks like it, doesn't it? Or am I just hallucinating things there? It looks like it says 75 years of Herpa. Let's just click on it and see. Was that it? No, that's the wrong airplane I'm clicking on. Ah yeah, it is indeed the Herpa Derpa Derpa. And QJ indeed, confirming that there are 3 A350s freighters ordered. To replace the 4 747s. Oh, they're going to reduce to just 3 airplanes as replacement. They're not going for 4 replacement airplanes, but just 3 then. And I feel quite well actually, Elizabeth. Just the last remnants of a cold infection that I had earlier in the week. I'm feeling perfectly fine otherwise. So no cause for alarm. Right, the KLM 100 years livery arrived from Cartagena in Colombia just now, and the next airplane to arrive is going to be KLM flight 936 arriving from Glasgow. That is a 737-800. Glasgow in Scotland, just an hour and 13 minutes of flying away. This is the PHBXE Bravo X-Ray Echo, 25-year-old airplane. First flight April 2000. Katie asks, why does it look like planes are landing in both directions? But of course on different runways. It has to do with the temporary closure of runway 18 left 36 right. Runway 36 right normally would have been the secondary runway for arrivals today. With wind blowing from the northeast. But the runway is closed for maintenance now, yearly maintenance for 5 days. So from the 5th until the 10th, runway 36 right is unable to be used. And that means that during an inbound peak, like there is now, a secondary runway needs to open up that is different from runway 36 right. And since 36 left and 36 center are already assigned for departures, and 36 center is actually crossing runway 06, it makes more sense to open up the other remaining runway 27, even though the wind is not optimal for it. Now I am very thrilled to welcome Evan as our latest member in Club Blue. Senor Rodriguez, who has been a member now for 24 months. ¿Qué tal, camaradas? Finalmente conseguí el reto. I probably totally mispronounced that. Apologies for that, mate. Good to see you again. Top of the morning, Evan. Hope all is well. And thank you so much for your continued support. I know it would have been longer already if you didn't have that credit card issue a while back. You had to renew. That took a little while, I still remember. Always a pleasure to have you in the chat, my friend. Hope you still like being a member. Senor Rodriguez, Evan from the West Coast. Our latest Blue member, 2 years a member. What is up, sir? Now, I'm also trying to keep an eye out for... Right, Suparna is now pretty close to runway 27. I think I have it already. I think this... No, that's not it. That's the Anadolu jet preceding it. So on paper, yes. Queen number 2. Suparna Airlines. It's been a while since we last saw it in the stream. It's a pity that it didn't come to the Kaagbaan eventually, but there you go, we have it. Suparna Airlines flight 87415, arriving from Shanghai in China. That is 10 hours and 53 minutes on the way to get here. It is a 747-400 freighter. Registration Bravo 2437. This airplane is 33 years old already. First flight August 1991. I turned 9 that month. Right, so big picture, and if you wonder where is it in the sky, it is approaching and is now almost flying above the south apron, the south cargo apron. The lighting works in our favor. The warmth doesn't. Yeah, it's not optimal. It's not optimal. Right, big picture wise, looking to the west and to the south, you can see more clouds. Looking to the north, they're drifting in. The east now seems to be the bluest, even though at the horizon you can see that there's also a more continuous base of clouds further to the east. Right now the sun is struggling ever more to shine in between the cumulus clouds. Suparna in the end arriving a bit earlier than its ETA earlier in the morning was. I think I recall having seen 11:33. It already landed now a couple of minutes earlier than that. I hope that the ETA of the other 747 hasn't changed significantly. Let's have a quick look, because I am dying to see if we are going to see Saudi. Yeah, ETA of 11:48. That's well after the secondary runway should be closed again. So if all is well, Saudi should be coming this way. Emirates, don't know for sure. Don't count on it. It's still 9 minutes past 1. Yeah, and now the ETA of the 747 also another few minutes later than it was earlier. So let's see how the rest will transpire. If you are enjoying the stream and you haven't already, consider leaving a like. We're at 314 likes and we have more than double the viewers. Either the stream is quite shitty, or a lot of you guys are forgetting to enjoy the stream and liking it. If you aren't enjoying the stream, then let me know and let me see and let me know what you don't like about it, and see what I can do to fix it. Saudi are going to the Karbaan. That's good news. Well, I keep saying hit the like, but I don't really know if it does anything. It seems to be very random if we have more people watching or not. Allegedly it works. I'm not sure that it does. But it can't help. It probably won't do any damage if you do like or don't. Anyway, thank you so much, Jerome, for your super chat. He wonders, where do the stairs next to the water go? You mean the stairs over here? They just lead up to the electricity cabinet or something that is standing here. But that's a good question. It's not like you can use your boat and well, can you? Yeah, you could on paper could tie the boat to those thingies over there, and then on board unmount your boat and work on the electricity over here. This was KLM flight 924, arriving from Edinburgh in Scotland. Wolfgang says in German we say hilft es nicht, schadet es nichts. Yeah, in Dutch we say baat het niet, dan schaadt het niet. So that's almost exactly the same. If it doesn't benefit, then it won't hurt. More or less the literal translation in English. Doesn't translate that well, but John asks if I get money depending on how many people watch the stream. It's the views that is part of the equation. There are ads that run before you go into the stream. You also have the possibility to add mid-roll ads. I stopped doing that. It's a chore to time that properly. I only have some ads in the beginning before going into the stream. Also, when you watch the replay, just in the beginning, and that is it. The ad revenue from that depends, of course, on the number of views. So it doesn't really matter how many people are watching at a certain moment. What matters is the number of views in total. That's part of the equation. Of course, the more people are subscribed and are returning viewers, the more views on average. Now, ad revenue is only a small part of the total equation. In fact, the majority is not ad revenue for live streaming channels. It's the donations and other forms of revenue. But of course, the bigger the channel, the more subscribers a channel has, the more people are inclined to click on content of it. Which is actually crazy, because the algorithm of YouTube doesn't work to promote channels that have a lot of subscribers anymore. It used to be the case like that, but they basically suggest content based on your viewing history. So if you already watched other live streaming channels from aviation related topics, there's a higher likelihood that content like this will get promoted to you. And regardless of whether you are a subscriber or not, if you watched AMS Live not too long ago, then new content will also automatically be more promoted on the main page of your personal YouTube homepage. That's the way it works. Still, a lot of people tend to believe that if a channel has a lot of subscribers, it has more street cred and are more inclined to also watch the content from a channel like that. Hadi Halm, goedemorgen. Vasro Darshane, good morning. Mark, good evening. Charlene, goedemorgen. Welcome to the show, everybody else who has joined. Josegi, tuning in from Nairobi in Kenya again. Good to see you again. So, if you joined us later, welcome to the show. As you can see, we have some friendly clouds in the background. Earlier, we had a blue sky as backdrop. We have friendly clouds. We have wind blowing from the northeast. Alsmeerbaan, runway 18 left, 36 right is closed for maintenance, for yearly maintenance from the 5th until the 10th. So few more days of different runway use. Today, runway 27 is used as secondary runway for arrivals. That inbound rush hour is now almost over. 2 747s we have seen. One landed here, one landed on runway 27 not too long ago. A third one is expected to land here on this runway pretty soon. Quite early in the stream, I began 15 minutes earlier today. I was really lucky, the traffic jams were not too severe, and I also was able to find a parking space right away, which is not always a given on a Thursday. But I started the stream 15 minutes sooner because 8:45 the first quad squad member, the A340-600, landed. If you joined us later, you might have missed it. The A340 landed around 9:45. I think 45 minutes later the first queen already landed. Third queen and second to land here on the Kagbaan is expected to land here. It is in Dutch airspace already, Saudia cargo. Now let me quickly go over to the computer and massively thank Captain Jerry Donnelly, who just now went ahead and gifted 5 memberships. Jerry, thank you so much for your generosity. You really didn't have to do that, but you said screw it, I'll do it anyway. I hope that everybody who received a gifted membership from you will thank you for it. Don't forget to use the custom emojis that you have at your disposal for a month now if you received a gifted membership. Don't forget to thank the gifter. And if you are a new member or an old member, doesn't matter. If you haven't done so already but you have an opinion, please don't forget to cast your vote in the community section for members. We are running polls, 3 rounds in total, to see which will be the eventual 30-second custom emoji for all the members. Out of 24 initial suggestions, there are now 6 left. And they compete in a second round head-to-head in two polls, each containing 3 suggestions. The 2 winners of the polls, which will be determined next week Tuesday, will compete in a third and final round to become the 30-second custom emoji for the members. And thank you, John, for your kind words, who says, "You are so well spoken with a nice accent. I love listening to you, boy." Well, happy to hear that, John. Thank you for the kind words. Hope you guys are all enjoying listening and watching the airplanes here. So, by the looks of it, and even though it is 11:35, it looks like runway 27 has already closed for business. I can see airplanes from the east that are continuing past the glide slope to runway 27, which makes me believe that everything is now once again coming to this runway 06, and that's going to stay until approximately 1 p.m. The Saudi A747 is also approaching. This is the PHEZE, Fizzy come, Fizzy go. And a Dreamliner from KLM is approaching on the downwind leg, arriving from Delhi in India. I am trying to get my bearings in just because behind that airplane we have a 747. Here we see it already. Luckily visibility to the east is quite well, and I think I can already see the 747 from Saudi. Where did I see it? I did have it visually, and there's a cloud in the vicinity as well, so... Oh wait, no, it's a bit further to the right already. Was it more over here or was it more over there? Let's check that again. Now it's above this cloud. Ah, there it is. Was looking a bit too high. There it is. Unmistakably a 747. That is Saudia, which is still flying in the vicinity of Bussum. That's actually half an hour of at least of driving with a car away from here. Right, you can see that the sun is no longer shining uninterruptedly. And look who has arrived on the scene and is going to have to traverse the runway at some point. Question is, when is it going to do that? First up, this one's for you, Sarah. Next up will be JetBlue Flight 631, arriving from Boston, Massachusetts. And here we have our good friend Russell. Russell Crowe, also a custom emoji that members have access to. Captain Jerry wonders if I mainly speak Dutch off camera. Well, for my work I speak to people all day, mostly in Dutch then, although I do sometimes also speak to expats, so I do have to use English for my day job every now and then as well. Also at home, as it happens, one of my 2 neighbors, he is from Wales originally, so he often reverts to speaking English, and I do too. he and the neighbor often also speak English among themselves, so usually whenever I speak to him, I always speak English with him as well, because most of the time, in a practical way, most of the days of the week, I'm speaking English almost more often, more days of the week than not. But yeah, in supermarkets and whatnot, of course I do speak Dutch. JetBlue Flight 631 having arrived from Boston, Massachusetts. Long distance butt shot from the Chinese 747. Also a massive big thank you to Charlene for your super sticker. Shiba dog raising an arm to greet someone, asking how is it going. Well, me personally still am recovering from the cold infection that was hitting me over the weekend, but otherwise I am doing perfectly fine. Oh, let's... Those seagulls? Or... no, it's these birds that I'm hearing. Is that a subspecies? Yeah, it does look like a subspecies of seagulls. Or are they different types of birds? A different species. Typical sound that they make. Anyway. En Jurgo, het mag ook in Nederlands. Dutch is allowed over here, so goedemorgen. And good morning to all others who have joined. Terns. Visdieven. Okay, there you go. Long-tailed terns. I started out as a simple aviation live streamer who didn't know much about birds. Now I'm a simple aviation live streamer that still doesn't know a lot of birds, but has identified several species thanks to you guys here at Schiphol Airport. Terns. Are they a relatively rare species here in the Netherlands, or are they pretty prevalent? Hey there, Mark. Good to see you. Good morning. Terns. Visdieven. Never heard of that species before. It looked at first glance like they were some type of seagull, but anyway, this is German Airways arriving from Stavanger, flying on behalf of KLM, Embraer 190, flight 1174. Is the damn low. Hadi Samir, morgen. Frank, morgen. Geerdown Aviation, good morning. Yvonne, goedemorgen. Alright, so I spy with my little eye a queen of the sky. My. She's turning in and the gear is lowering. outer gear comes out first, and the inner gear not very much later after that. Nose gear always hiding behind the rest of the lower fuselage. It is extended, but you can't see it. KLM flight 872 arriving from Delhi in India, 78710. Always nice to see the deflex, and then it is quickly back to Her Majesty the Queen. Queen number 2 to land here on runway 06, Queen number 3 in total. This is Saudi Cargo flight 933, arriving from Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, the 9H AKF Alpha Kilo Foxtrot. This is a 747-400 freighter, and this specimen is 30 years old, ladies and gentlemen. First flight was in December 1994. 1994 is the year I went from elementary school to middle school, so I must have been in the first grade in middle school back then. What were you guys doing back in December 1994, other than celebrating Christmas at the end of that month? Right, well, not the gentlest of landings, but certainly not the hardest of landings. I didn't hear any significant use of reversers, unfortunately. And we are also seeing a long distance headshot of Qatar, which has been pushed back and is probably going to take off pretty soon. Her Majesty, I expect to come this way. She'll probably have her parking on the south side of the cargo apron. That means on the right side of the platform. A380 turned 14 in December 1994. And indeed, Charlene, that is 30 years ago. A little more even. Marianne was getting her high school diploma. Redwig wasn't born yet. Bob had just finished working in douane after 21 years service. Long distance combo shot in the making here. Hadi Daniel, goedemorgen. Took an extra 19 years before he existed, Gear Down Aviation says. Lance was living in Zimbabwe. Cue the music, that's in. You asked for it, you can get it, mate. Let's also have a quick look on Flight Radar and see what else in terms of Quad Squad members, we can expect a quick refresh to make sure that everything is current. Will tell us that over still Hungarian airspace, but soon to fly into Austrian airspace, the Emirates A380, making up some time compared with earlier ETAs. Still 7 minutes past 1 makes it a candidate for the wrong runway. Jesus has just crossed over the Netherlands and is flying back from Berlin to London Gatwick. Today, another day, a godforsaken place here in the Netherlands. And cargo logs arrival from Miami is now expected 10 minutes to 2. Its ETA is unfortunately getting later by the minute. Two airplanes, 6 engines, and 2 APUs. Ian says, thanks for the stream, see you soon. Thanks for joining, mate. See you soon. Eastern Airways, Britty Hopper, Embraer 170, arrived from the number sign. Flying on behalf of KLM. Bloop bloop. Smooth landing. Her Majesty is creeping in on the Qatar triple. And Sarah says, I was taking education courses for my certification and I was working. So 1994 was a busy year for you then. EasyJet A320neo arriving from Lickety Split, which, if I remember correctly, is in Croatia. Next land here on runway 06. And after that, KLM flight 604 arriving from LAX. That's a 787-10. Wonder when the Qatar is going to traverse the runway. Will the triple already start crossing the runway? The answer is not yet. Still has to taxi a bit further this way. Still too far away. Not near the crossing yet. In the meantime, Saudia is turning in to go to its final parking stand. Next up, 787-10, KLM flight 604 arriving from LAX. Here it is, a beautiful 787-10 Dreamliner, nearly 10 hours underway as well, 9 hours and 50 minutes according to flight radar. It's the PHBKL Papa Hotel Bravo Kilo Lima. 2-year-old airplane, first flight June 2022. Now there's flex. Boom, now there's no longer. The triple is on the move. Will it cross the runway before the next Embraer 175 has landed? It will need to hurry up then. Yeah, it's going. It's going. in the nick of time before the Embraer 175 has landed. Now Charlene, thank you so much for your super sticker. Shiba Dog moves his arm saying goodbye. I think that is you saying goodbye for now. If that is the case, thank you for joining. Once again, thank you so much for your super sticker. You really didn't have to do it that way, but thank you so much. And if you are leaving for now, hope to see you again pretty soon and enjoy the rest of your day. So yeah, Triple traversed runway 06 and is now moving to one of the runways for departures. Think probably the center runway. This is KLM flight 1088 arriving from Cardiff, an Embraer 175, and after that we are going to see KLM flight 1774, which is an Embraer 190 arriving from Berlin. Let's also have a quick look around. Looking to the north, this is what it looks like, and there's an interesting dichotomy that usually is the other way around. Looking towards the west where the sea is at, normally the sky is more blue over there, but today it's the opposite of that. More cloudiness. Looking to the east, land inward, where normally you see clouds forming, friendly clouds as the earth warms up and water vapor rises and condensates. But today, looking to the east, the sky is more blue than looking to the west. Looking to the south, it's a bit in between. Over here, right in the southern sky, right south of me, it is more open. Looking a bit more towards the far south, looking towards the horizon, you can see more cloudiness. And these are interesting cloud formations. Are these the beginnings of showers in the making? They do look pretty, don't they? Not sure if they predicted any showers later in the day, but these look like, under the right circumstances, they could continue developing into cumulonimbus clouds. Though I'm not sure that they will. Right. Next airplane coming in, KLM flight 1164, arriving from Bergen. That's a 737-800. We have an E2 Embraer 195 from KLM after that. That's arriving from London Heathrow. And with that, I think we probably saw all of the narrow-body airplane types in a couple of minutes' time. No, wait, still the A321neo. Let's see if we can also update the METAR in the ticker after this landing. Hey, another 747 has been pushed back. It looks like Cargolux will be leaving pretty soon. Gives us a moment to have a look on, well, flight radar we already checked. Let's have a look at the METAR. This is the METAR in the ticker, and a refresh will tell us that the temperature has climbed 1 degree C. It's now 15 degrees C, roughly 60 F. The wind is blowing from the north-northeast, and that means a little bit of crosswind from the left for the airplanes that are approaching runway 06 to arrive and land. 8 knots of wind, not much to write home about, and still few clouds at 2,100 feet. The air pressure is 1,019 hectopascals, and no significant changes are expected in the upcoming hours. Hadi Liewe, goedemorgen. Good to see ya. Welcome to the show, all others who might have joined in the meantime. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy and we are standing at the Kaagbaan, runway 06, the primary runway for arrivals. Secondary runway today is runway 27, and that has to do with the temporary closure of the Aalsmeerbaan due to its yearly maintenance from the 5th until the 10th. E2 gear turbofan whistle from the E2 Embraer 195, KLM flight 1004, arriving from London Heathrow. I'm happy to say that there are 3 wide-bodies flying towards this runway. The first of them is just southwest of The Hague. 2 more are coming and are flying over the southwestern provinces of South Holland and Zeeland. Cargolux 747 is pushed back and is soon going to come this way. Flaps haven't been set yet, so they still need to start everything, do a controls check, set the flaps, then request taxi clearance. Russell over here in the grass, having fun in the green. Hey there, John, Dutch Canadian. Goedemorgen, good to see ya. Gary Grebe is in the water. So too is Chris Coote. Long distance headshot. Cargolux. Interestingly, the 2 Chinese triples that are on the north side of the cargo apron, also both with their hatches closed. Hey! This helicopter also just now took off from Schiphol Oost, coming this way. Bird control is doing a photobomb. Harm is asking what kind of camera I'm using, and that is a Canon XA60. In the meantime, arriving from Faro is the Transavia Peter Pan Vacation Club special livery. A mix of a lot of patterns and colors. Which personally I wouldn't necessarily call pretty, but it is striking. Cargolux is still holding short. Or is it? No, it's not. Spoke too soon. No, she's going well in time before Hans' favorite is next. Vueling flight 8309 arriving from Barcelona is the next to land here on runway 06. Where is Cargolux going to? Probably somewhere south or southeast. It's probably going to take the center runway, isn't it? Much more cloudy now in the background to the west, or in the case of the glide slope southwest, than was the case in the beginning of the stream. This is Vueling flight 8309 arriving from Barcelona. 1 hour and 49 minutes on the way. It is an A320. Hey there, Stacy. Good to see you again. Hope it was well. Stacy says we've missed you. Ah, shucks. Well, I only had to bail on last Sunday's stream because my upper respiratory tract infection was also affecting my voice a little bit, my throat. It's only been one day that I haven't been around. But it's good to be back. Good to see that everybody is finding the stream again. Next up, we are going to see KLM flight 758. And I thought I mentioned 3 consecutive wide bodies, but narrow body is creeping in between this airplane and the next wide body. First up, this is KLM flight 758. It is arriving from Panama City. Panama City is not too far away from... This is a 777-300 coming this way. 10 hours and 2 minutes on the way. It is Marissa's beloved, formerly beloved SkyTeam livery 777, the PHBVD. So this, until a couple of months ago, used to be a beautiful silver airplane. One of 3 in KLM's fleet in the SkyTeam livery. Now back to the standard livery. They're slacking on their flap surface maintenance. They're not keeping it as clean as they used to. Hey there, Don Viejos. Good afternoon to you too. Welcome to the show, all others who have joined in the meantime. You're watching AMS Live, my name is Boy. And if you joined us only later, you might have missed landings of several Quad Squad members already. The first Quad Squad member to have arrived here this morning was arriving 9:45-ish. That was the Suriname A340 600. In the meantime, 3 747s have arrived here. 2 of them landed here on runway 06. The other landed on runway 27, which today acts as the secondary runway for inbound traffic. And that has to do with the temporary closure of the Aalsmeer-bound runway 36 right, which ordinarily would have been the secondary runway for today for arrivals. It's yearly maintenance. It's closed from the 5th until the 10th, so it should reopen again in a few days' time. Those clouds in the south are growing. Wish I had a second separate camera that I could have made a time lapse with, because this is rain showers in the making. Would probably make for a pretty beautiful, nice time lapse. Anyway, This is Transavia flight 5820, arriving from Bari. Not to be confused with the Surinamese bun bara, which is also very tasty. Indeed, Jerome, fast growing tower clouds equals lightning. Now, luckily the wind is blowing from the north, well, northeast-ish. This is approximately where the wind is blowing from right now, so it's forming away from me and it's not going to get any closer. It's going to move, those clouds are going to move even further away. Finnair off to bloody Helsinki, probably to Polderbound to take off from beautiful A350. And here we have TUI flight 757. Not a Boeing 757, obviously, but a 787-8 Dreamliner arriving from Willemstad, Curaçao. 8 hours and 53 minutes on the way. Registration Papa Hotel Tango Foxtrot Kilo. Ten-year-old airplane, first flight May 2014. Okay, so is that the grebe I was hearing, or maybe it was one of the other birds? So it could swing a bit further upstream. Hey, Judy, also back in the chat. Good to see you, Judy. Bobbers, good afternoon. Michael Jackson also back in the chat. Good to see you, mate. So yeah, welcome to the show, guys. If you just joined us only just now, you may have missed several Quad Squad member arrivals already. We started with the A340-600 this morning around 9:45. In the meantime, 3 747s have landed on Schiphol Airport. 2 of them here on runway 06. 1 of them landed on runway 27. There's still an A380 expected and a 747 arriving from Miami. The latter almost arriving at almost 2 o'clock. So not exactly sure yet if I'm going to stick around for it. It depends on how much interesting traffic will follow after the A380 has landed. Initially it looked like it was landing around 1:30. Now it is almost 2 o'clock, so that's a long time to a bridge if there's hardly any interesting traffic. This is the fuck off. And the fuck off has returned from Boner. That's in the Caribbean Sea. An A330-300, 9 hours and 7 minutes it has flown to get here. Fuck off. The registration of this airplane. Hi Hans Zwanenburg, goedemiddag. Welcome to the show, everybody. It does look like I am hearing Gary Grebe over here. Gary Grebe, one of 6 candidates in round 2 for the custom emoji election that you can vote for. Droplets on its feathers. Oh yeah. That's definitely Gary Grebe we were hearing. Right, the sun being blocked by a temporary small cloud. Looking further to the south, clouds that are growing in height. Showers are forming, I think, further to the south. Wouldn't be surprised if a droplet of rain and maybe a lightning strike would pass out of it later in the day. This is Delta Airlines Flight 136. It's an A330 arriving from Detroit, Michigan. Bill J also back in the chat. Good to see you, mate. And Dans as well. Goedemiddag. So yeah, 3 747s, of which 2 landed here on the Kaagbaan, plus the A340-600, which already landed a 9:45 in the morning. If you missed it, worthwhile having a rewind. Also, one of the Chinese triples is now getting pushed back. One of the cargo triples. There we go. Delta is using their reversers. You can clearly hear them. It's the triple that was standing furthest away that they are now pushing back. Let's have a quick look on flight radar and see where the airplanes of interest are. Jesus has landed on London Gatwick. Well, no, almost. It's almost there. 17 kilometers away still, flying from Berlin back to the UK. So another day that the Netherlands will remain a godforsaken place. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to stick around until this airplane has landed, because it's getting later by the minute. Almost an hour to fill between this and the Emirates A380. Emirates A380 still firmly a few minutes too late. 7 minutes past the hour. It's ETA. It's probably going to land on runway 27. And now rest assured we can see that landing quite well from over here, since it is a relatively close by glide slope. Yeah, Jesus is in the UK, Paul. Better behave. And I see that Michael DCA has found his way back to the Aurora Sky Lounge. Welcome back, sir. Thank you for your renewed vote of confidence. We kept everything, we kept your seat warm, and everything is still the way you left it. Thank you so much for your vote of confidence, and welcome back, Michael. Don't forget to vote if you haven't already. Round 2 of the custom emoji elections still are running. Yeah, that's that's a GE90 starting. GE90 starting, the first of the 2. And I see that Jörg is also back in the chat. Good to see ya. Who is back in Düsseldorf? Hope you've had a good stay in Thailand, mate, and a good flight back. Welcome back in Europe. First engine now seems to be running. Pretty soon they're going to start engine number 2. They're also going to lower the flaps to the takeoff setting and start doing a controls check. Engine number 2 now starting, quite clearly audible. In the meantime, we have KLM flight 1830 arriving from Stuttgart. That's number 190. Hey there, Renee, good afternoon. And Jörg also brought back a cold from Thailand. Mate, me and Lisa were struck by a cold as well at the end of last week. Still recovering from it. What is it that there are still cold infections circulating on the northern hemisphere this time of year? Snot season usually ends around March, beginning of April. All the best, Jörg. Next airplane to arrive on runway 06 is going to be Shamrock Flight 604. That's an A321neo arriving from Dublin, Ireland. At Schiphol there's always a lot to see, and pretty soon it is going to land here as well. You can already see that the flaps are lowered. The slats are also extended. The slats you can find on the leading edge of the wings. And enjoy your lunch, Sander. Bon appetit. Right. After the flaps and slats have been set, the flight controls have been checked, and clearance has been given to taxi, they are off, and this triple will be taking off from Polderbound probably. So still a long way to go. If it goes around the southern threshold of the center runway, we might even see it, catch a glimpse of it. Gary Grebe was there, but he dove under once again. I'm hearing an airplane overhead, but I'm not seeing anything. And that is typical. Shamrock, however, is visible because it has the lights on. There it is, Shamrock Flight 604 arriving from Dublin. And after that we are going to see a 777-200 that is arriving from Guayaquil. Think it's still behind the trees. Oh no, wait, I'm wrong. There it is already. So a 2 airplane glide slope shot. Hey, thank you, Jörg. And Celine also back in the chat for a brief pop in. Good to see you, Celine. Hope all is well. Once again, not seeing the last chats here, although it does look like my chat window is still updating. Had to scroll laterally, and now once again struggling to see the last messages. It's always a bit more problematic when you're using split screen like I am. We'll fix it after this landing. Aer Lingus Flight 604 arriving from Dublin, Ireland. It left from Dublin 1 hour and 10 minutes ago. This is an A321neo, the EI LRC. 5 years old already, first flight October 2019. Interesting. Interesting that they only, at least in my memory, that they only recently began flying A321neos to Amsterdam. For a long time it used to be nothing but A320s. Interesting that they have now chosen to also fly the A321neos on occasion to Amsterdam recently. We've seen them quite a few times already in the last couple of weeks. But remember, that is only a recent thing. For a long time we only saw nothing but A320s. Now let's see, can I, even in full screen I still struggle to get the chat window back to the bottom and the last messages, even when I now have my phone upright and it doesn't have split screen anymore. So simple, copy paste the URL into another browser window and go back to the bottom, and there we go. Also flight radar, and turn the screen quarter turn once again. There we go. Might be cheaper on landing fees, Wolfgang says. Is that so? Is that based on their how much sound they make, how much CO2 they produce, or is it the weight of the airplane? This is KLM flight 755. It is a 777-200. It's arriving from Guayaquil, and we all know where that lies. That's in You're goddamn right. 11 hours and a minute on the way. Something is going wrong with KLM. The flap surfaces used to be spotlessly clean. Initially I thought it was just the KLM Asia airplanes that had a bit more grimy flaps, but now it also seems that this is spreading to other non-KLM Asia airplane types as well. Anyway, next up, a lot to see. An Embraer 175 in the Star Alliance livery. There it is. And something a bit bigger, seemingly bigger in the background. That is Delta Airlines flight 164, which is arriving from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm happy to see on flight radar that Iceland Air is flying a 767 in today. We should see it pretty soon as well. Next airplane after this Delta A330 should be a Corendon A350 arriving from Bonaire. Before that all is going to go down, first up here is lot flight 263 arriving from Warsaw in the Star Alliance livery. 1 hour and 40 minutes on the way. Registration SPLIO, Splio. Splio. 14 years old, first flight September 2010. Oh. Right, so now on the north side of the cargo apron there's only one China Southern Cargo 777 left. There were two, and I'm not seeing any new cargo airplanes coming this way anytime soon. Still, the dichotomy in the air is quite substantial, and all the more remarkable since it's usually the other way around. East, land inward, usually it is more cloudy. Now it is more open. Looking to the west where the sea is at, normally it is more open, and now it is the complete other way around. Welcome to opposite day. We're also going to see opposite runway use pretty soon from 1 till 2. 2 runways open for arrivals. Runway 27 is going to open up next to runway 06, so almost exactly in opposite directions. This is Delta Airlines Flight 164 arriving from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Jurk has to hop off. Thanks for stopping by, Jurk. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hope to see you again soon. Felix, good afternoon. Good to see you again, mate. Big plane from Minnesota, indeed. More big planes are coming. We have 3 big planes that are coming now next, back to back, no less. The first 2 big planes are Corendon Flight 5997 arriving from Bonaire. That's an A350 900. And after that we have a 777-300 that is arriving from Lima in Peru. Iceland Air Flight 500, that's a 767-300. That should be somewhere behind these 2 airplanes. Looking like this, it almost looks like it might start to rain, but if you look to the big picture and you look around, you can see that most of the sky here is still very open. It is just that the backdrop to the southwest, where these airplanes are arriving from, now looks most clouded of all around me here. This is Corendon Flight 5997 arriving from Bonaire. World to fly Corendon A350, 8 hours 44 minutes on the way. The ECNZF, 2 years old. First flight was in May 2023. Howdy Danny, goedemiddag. Welcome to the show, all others who might have joined in the meantime. You're watching AMS Live, my name is Boy. Quad Squad arrival day. We started the show around 9:45 with the arrival of the A340-600 from Suriname. 3 Queens have landed in the meantime, and the Emirates A380 is expected in just over half an hour from now. And this is KLM Flight 744. Which is a 777-300 arriving from Lima in Peru. Peru is in Latin America. You know what country lies next to that? Technically speaking, of course, not exactly right next to it, but pretty close to it, I should say. The Greaves are over there. And apparently a police vehicle on the highway just now. Next up, it is time for Iceland Air Flight 500. And that's a Boeing 767-300. Now sadly, Iceland Air no longer has any 767s in their old livery with the dark blue and the orange. It's all sterile white and blue with a color accent on the tail, and this time it looks like a palish green or something. Hard to gauge from the picture number 1 on flight radar. Yeah, looking at the second picture, it does look like it is very pale green. 2 hours and 46 minutes underway. The TFISN is the registration of this airplane. It is 24 years old. The first flight of this airplane was in August 2000. Mega winglets, Wolfgang says. I'm not sure if they still qualify as winglets. We've had discussion about that before. I think Dirk van den Berg is very knowledgeable about the subject. Not sure what to call them. Sharklets, winglets, scimitars. They are big, that's for sure. Those upwards protruding extremities at the end of the wings. Appendices. While I'm standing here in the shade of a cloud, the Chinese triple is illuminated lovely, beautifully by the sun. Hey, is Michael Jackson celebrating his birthday? Have you turned 65? Am I reading that properly? Congratulations, mate. 65. That is a respectable age. We have 2 airplanes coming in. Both are EasyJet. Both of them are also A320 Neos. Hey, congratulations, Michael. Happy 65th birthday, my friend. It's your birthday and you're still up so early. Goodjob is an A320 Neo returning from Edinburgh in Scotland. I think Gary Grebe is also saying congratulations, Michael. Where is he? Was that him? Yeah, that was him. Another A320 Neo from EasyJet, this one coming in from Milan, and a third consecutive A320 Neo from EasyJet over there as well. EasyJet flight 27806, the OELSK. 1 hour and 25 minutes underway. And Liewe is celebrating his 25 months of membership by congratulating Michael. Michael, congratulations on behalf of Liewe And Liwe, thank you for your continued support as a 25-month member. And of course, as a valued moderator, thank you so much for all the support and everything you've done to support the channel all throughout those months. And of course, a congratulations on behalf of Liwe to Michael Jackson, who is celebrating his 65th birthday today. In the meantime, it looks grim over here, but that's only because there is a cloud in the way of the sun. Pretty soon it is going to get sunny again over here. The most cloudy parts of the sky are right away from where the sun is in the sky over here, so we should start seeing the sun more regularly in a few minutes, I think. Vlados Live is tuning in from Edinburgh. Welcome to the show, mate. If you are new to the channel, don't be afraid to say hi in the chat. It's not mandatory by any means, but it is always appreciated. Also, feel free to ask any questions that you might be having. Many people are watching. A lot of them are friendly. Some of them are knowledgeable. All can give crazy answers if you want them to. So feel free to challenge the audience if you want to. This is another EasyJet A320neo. This one is arriving from Palma de Mallorca. 2 hours and 4 minutes on the way. A320 Neorio. Olaf has to go. Thanks for stopping by, Olaf. Enjoy the rest of your day and hope to see you again soon. And John is back. Good to see you again. Welcome back, mate. And it seems that we have crossed the 500 plus likes. Thank you all so much for that. Glad to hear that you guys are enjoying the content. Hope everybody is. Doing the best I can to give you the best quality streams I can give you. Danny is tuning in from Andorra. Welcome to the show, Danny. This is KLM flight 1352 arriving from Prague in the Czech Republic. 737-800, and after that we are going to see Delta Airlines flight 144, which is arriving from Seattle, Washington. Papa Hotel, Bravo Charlie Echo. Hey Infinity, also back in the chat. Good to see you, mate. Delta Airlines flight 144 is next to arrive here. We can already see another airplane behind it. That would be KLM flight 1502 arriving from Madrid. Quite a few bugs are here already. You can also see them hovering over there. They're just hovering, they're not biting, so that's all good. This is Delta Airlines flight 144 arriving from Seattle, Washington. 9 hours and 4 minutes on the way. The November 829 November Whiskey. The airplane is 8 years old. The first flight was in June 2016. If all is well, the Emirates A380 should not be too far away again from Dutch airspace if it isn't in Dutch airspace already. Question, of course, is which runway will it be assigned to? I've got a hunch that it's going to be runway 27. But who knows, maybe we are in for a surprise. Hadi Dion, goedemorgen. Voor jou dan. And Ryan also back in the chat. Good to see ya. So yeah, quad squad arrivals today. If you join us only later, you may have missed some arrivals already. There was an A340 600 from Suriname Airways that arrived at 9:45. 3 747s have landed here, 2 of them on this runway, and another one has arrived via runway 27. If all is well, we should see the Emirates A380 pretty soon, probably to runway 27. And congratulations, Jerry, who apparently has been selected for seagoing employment with Military Sealift Command for the 2nd radio electronics technician position. Congratulations, mate. That is nice. Back to being employed. No more retirement. What? It's hard to imagine for me, as a boy who always dreamt of being retired from the day he left university already. Counting down the years and the days. This was KLM flight 1502, having arrived from Madrid, 737-800. And also, pretty soon, we are going to see Air Transat back from wherever it was. We've seen it over the course of the last couple of years on several occasions. Then it was back, then it was gone again. Air Transat arriving from Toronto is now number 2 to arrive. 2 consecutive A321neos, the first of course being KLM. You can already recognize the blue. Flight 1602 arriving from Rome. One hour 55 minutes on the way. Brand new airplane. It is the FAX A, it is the first of the fleet. Right, back again, Air Transat, flight 376. I think we already saw it in one of the previous streams, but they have returned to Amsterdam, at least during the streaming hours of AMS Live. Air Transat arriving from Toronto, Canada, 6 hours and 55 minutes on the way, A321neo. It used to be Air Transat and, of course, JetBlue, the 2 carriers that were operating A321neos for transatlantic flights. It was Air Transat that came to Schiphol first and then followed by JetBlue. Then for a while it was only JetBlue. Now Air Transat also seems to be back. Or if they weren't never gone, they went and came and left from Schiphol at times when I wasn't streaming. That could also be it, of course. It is 12:49, and that means that in 11 minutes from now, runway 27 is going to open up as secondary runway for arrivals. Why the opposite runway use, you might wonder? Well, runway 36 right, which normally would have been the secondary runway for arrivals on days like today with wind blowing from the north, is closed for maintenance, yearly maintenance, only 5 days from the 5th until the 10th. Means that the last couple of days While we constantly had wind from the north, runway 27 has been in use as secondary runway for arrivals. It's going to happen, the reopening, pretty soon. Right now everything from arriving from the east is still going to this runway where we are standing next to. The A380 though will probably not see landing over here, but we should be able to see. Hey, Don says A380 has been assigned to the Kaagbaan. Maria confirming. That is good news. There you go. At Schiphol, you never know what to expect. Except the unexpected. 9 out of 10 times it would have gone to the other runway, given its ETA, which is shortly past 1 o'clock, but there you go. For now, it seems that the A380 is going to come to this runway. And that is good news because we should be able to see it quite well in advance. A flying apartment building on wings. And we already practiced a little earlier in the stream to see, well, we need to point the camera to see airplanes that are still flying over Bussum and are pretty far away still, where they should be arriving from. This is the part of the sky that we need to look in, and luckily for us right now, as you can see, most of that part of the sky is also cloudless, so I think we have a great likelihood of being able to see the A380 pretty soon in advance. Now, check it out. It is so cloudy looking to the west. This is looking to the north, and then looking to the east, it's all open. And what strikes me is that it is usually the other way around. Normally, 9 out of 10 days, whenever the sun is shining, clouds form over land, and over the cooler water things stay more blue. Now it is the exact opposite. So yeah. Welcome to opposite day in the Netherlands. When you least expect it, indeed, Michael. Yeah, it's a strange day in that respect. Saudia 787 also to Kaagbaan W says, that's good news. Is it in the new livery or is it in the old livery? I hope it's going to be in the new livery. Alright, let's see. Where are those airplanes of interest? Well, Emirates is now flying in the vicinity of Deventer, so that is still pretty far away. And they're probably going to... well, Turkish is already a bit lower. More southerly, I should say. Not lower, but more to the south. They're already redirecting the airplanes. So, yeah, lucky us then. If we're going to see the A380 on this runway as well. We are once again going to see the full quad squad here on runway 06 on the runway we are standing next to. K3 driving information with the airplane, optically at least. So yeah. For those of you joining us later, welcome to the show. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy. We're standing at the Kaagbaan, runway 06, primary runway for arrivals, where already earlier in the morning we saw one A340 600 land here, plus 3 747s, 2 of which have landed on this runway. One of them got away and landed on runway 27. It now seems that we are going to get extremely lucky today, and the Emirates A380, which is expected in just under 20 minutes from now, is also going to land on the runway we are filming right next to. So we have front row seats for the A380. Saudia is also coming this way, the Saudia Dreamliner. I assume that the Turkish A330 is also coming this way then. Really, really lucky for us. Now it looks very dim and gloomy in the background. That is because the glide slope is now lying in the southwest, where the most clouds are in the sky right now. quarter turn and you will see a whole different picture. This is BA City Flyer arriving from London City. Now if you guys have been enjoying the stream so far and you haven't already, consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. It's a free way of helping spread the channel's content to new viewers who are also into live aviation streams, such as you guys are, but who haven't heard of the channel yet, but who, if they only knew we existed, would happily join our awesome community. Liking and subscribing is a free and easy way to help promote the channel to new viewers in that respect. Thank you all so much for that. Now, lucky us. I'm wondering what the ETA of the 747 arriving from Miami is. It was around 1:30 earlier, then it became 10 minutes to 2, and now 2 p.m. It's getting later by the minute, so don't think I'm going to stick around for that. I am going to stick around until the Emirates A380 has landed. Unless we are also going to see a lot of interesting traffic after the A380 going to runway 06, but usually not the case. Usually what you see is that only one after the other narrow body is coming into Schiphol. For minutes on end. Alright, so interestingly, the Turkish A330 is now approaching from the direction of Utrecht, and that's a bit further to the south than normally I am used to looking. I think it should be somewhere in the sky over there, over those buildings, but I'm not completely sure. I'm trying to see if maybe I can see it already. I'm not sure that I can. I'm just trying to get my bearings in, if maybe, because the Saudi Dreamliner is also coming that way. It's also directed more to the south. I'm already trying to see if I can spot some of those airplanes. Looks like the Emirates A380 is also being directed to a more southerly course. Is it still going to the Kaagbaan, is what I'm wondering. Hey Lise, good to see ya. Hi and bye. Yeah, we still have to wait and see. Can't see those wide bodies just yet. What I can see, however, is Air Ocean Morocco, which is coming in from Rabat. Rabat is in Morocco, and that lies in the north of. This is a Learjet 45 arriving from Rabat in Morocco. 2 hours and 54 minutes on the way. Learjet 45. Age not applicable. Ageless airplane, of course. Bada bing, bada boom. Hey there, Jill Bima. Hadi Stoof, goedemiddag. A380 still for the Kaagbaan. Thanks for checking that, Mara. You never know. It could also be directed towards... Ah, no, everything flying more to the north is going to runway 27. Right, I see it now. The 737 arriving from Billund. Everything that is being directed over Almere is going to that runway. So yeah, it's the 3 wide bodies that are coming this way. Turkish should be in visual range if only I knew where I needed to look. Oh, zooming in on the grass doesn't help. So yeah, on paper I think the Turkish A330 is flying out there somewhere. I think I ought to be able to see it if only I know where I need to look. Or maybe it is behind this shed. That could be. The Emirates A380 now flying a little bit east of Bussum, and if I recall correctly, it was over there that we saw the airplanes flying in the vicinity of Bussum. So I'm thinking the A380 should be in this quadrant of the sky somewhere. Not sure if it is above the building already or if it is so far away that it is still being obscured by the building. I'm scanning that part of the sky now to see if I can find it. A380 is moving further now in the vicinity of Hilversum, so that's a bit further to the south. Approaching Vinkeveense Plassen. No wait, that's the Loosdrechtse Plassen, so that's a bit further to the south. I see something. Yeah. Hard to see and recognize as the A380, particularly since it is apparently flying in between the clouds, but there it is. Pretty sure that this is the Emirates A380 flying over the Loosdrechtse Plassen. Emirates Flight 147, still a substantial bit of distance away, so it's nice to see that I'm able to see so far away, but of course it's just pixels and heatwave distortion, so let's just go over to what we can see best, and we are in for a Transavia A321neo arriving from Alicante first. Flight 6144, 2 hours and 7 minutes underway. The PHYHY, 1 year old, first flight March 2024. There's another airplane that you see in the background. That's KLM Flight 622 arriving from Atlanta, Georgia. The gear is lowering. And the hatches are closing again. The gear the gear hatches. Right. So, if all is well, we are going to see 4 consecutive wide-bodied airplanes land here after this Transavia narrowbody has landed. 777-300 arriving from Atlanta, Georgia, KLM. Turkish A330 arriving from Istanbul. Saudi Dreamliner arriving from Jeddah, and then the Emirates A380 arriving from Dubai. Alrighty, this is KLM Flight 622, arriving from Atlanta, Georgia, 7 hours and 42 minutes on the way, 777-300 the PHBVV, Bravo Victor Victor. 4-year-old airplane, first flight December 2020. The airplane in the background that you see is Turkish Flight 1957, and that is an A330 arriving from Istanbul. So yeah, lucky us that we are going to see the Emirates A380 land here, even though it is past 1 o'clock and the secondary runway is also already open. once again a specimen with seemingly clean flap surfaces. In the meantime, we have this airplane. Hainan Airways, Dreamliner, apparently. Looks like it. Turkish Flight 1957 is going to be next. Turkish Flight 1957 arriving from Istanbul in Turkey. Usually flight time for Istanbul to Amsterdam averages around 3 hours. Today this flight has lasted 2 hours and 51 minutes to date, so maybe they've had a bit of headwind on their way. Don't know. The airplane is 14 years old. Its first flight was in September 2010. Saudia Dreamliner in the background. On the left, that's Flight 215 arriving from Jeddah, and it is still in the old livery, the beige, not the white with the green stripe, unfortunately for us. I personally like the new livery better than the old one, but yeah, such is life. Nice use of the reversers there, quite clearly audible. Well, BizJet just now took off. Runway 22. Saudia Dreamliner arriving from Jeddah with Jeddah Nights on board. And here, Emirates Flight 147. Alrighty, this heap of pixels is Emirates Flight 147, a flying apartment building with wings coming this way, all the way from Dubai. 6 hours and 36 minutes the flight time thus far. That is a near nominal flight duration. Registration is the Alpha 6 Echo Oscar Oscar. The airplane is now at 1600 feet and descending. The airplane is 10 years old. First flight was in April 2015. Chris Coot is welcoming all the viewers who have joined in the meantime. If you joined us only later, you might have missed quite a few interesting landings already. We began the stream at 9:30 and a quarter to 10. The first quad squad member already landed here, the A340 600. We have seen 3 747s later in the show that landed here. 2 of them on this runway. 1 went to runway 27. And now the Emirates A380. It's the icing on the cake. It's been a while since we last saw the Emirates A380 coming this way on runway 06. No need to ask if it used its reversers, it was clearly audible. The Emirates A380 having landed here, runway 06 no less. Quite a surprise that we were able to see it land over here. In the meantime, also another 777 from Qatar has been pushed back and it is on the move. It has to traverse runway 06 at some point. Now, looking on flight radar to see what else is coming in. Yeah. There are a few wide bodies still underway, but they are still pretty far away. All the airplanes arriving from Latin America are still over mid-France. The next 747 is now over Liverpool and is also still expected in 45 minutes from now. I think I am going to wrap up for today, guys. Hopefully be back again with another live stream tomorrow, but yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up and take it easy for the rest of the day. Hope to see you all tomorrow. I hope you guys enjoyed the show as much as I have. Thank you all so much for tuning in here today. Hope to see you all tomorrow, or if not tomorrow, then later in the weekend. It promises to be good weather here in the Netherlands for the next couple of weeks. We should be having a continuation of the pretty weather that we had last week. As you can see, temperatures are climbing again towards 20 degrees or more, and the rain is nowhere to be seen in the upcoming 2 weeks. Sadly, most of the days, except maybe for the weekend, but I'm not sure if they're going to change the runway use because of it, the wind is going to stay in the northerly corner, and that means that the runway use is not going to change in the upcoming weeks. So count on arrivals for the Kaagbaan and departures for the Polderbaan for the next couple of weeks. I am going to wrap up for today though. Hope to see you all again tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you all for joining me here today. A big thank you for all the support in the form of gifted memberships, becoming a member yourself, super chats, super stickers and the likes. A massive big thank you also to the moderators for keeping the chat friendly and accessible to all. Hope to see you all again tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for stopping by. See you soon. Bye for now, guys.